very good day everyone. So today we will learn on Power Query where we will transform this particular database into this desired format. In other words, we want to transform our data from this original database into this particular answer expected format. So how we want to transform this data? So this is where we will use Power Query. So let's get started. So the first thing what I do is I put my cursor on the first database and then I press Ctrl A. So once I press Ctrl A, it will highlight the entire table. Then what I do is I go to data. So once I go to data ribbon, I go to the icon of from table/range. This is located at get and transform data. So I click this icon and you will notice that a box will appear. So I'm going to press OK. So once you press OK, you will be navigated to Power Query Editor. As you have seen over here, we have navigated to Power Query Editor. So now if you look here carefully, this data shows a date format. So I don't want date format, I want the numbers format because this is shows as a date format. So what I do is I'll split the column, split by delimiter, and then a box will appear and I press OK. So now it has split into separate columns. So I'm going to delete this column and I want to merge these two columns. So I go to transform and I click merge column and I want to merge by a custom dash and then I press OK. So now here you go. So we have merged this. So this is table 1. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press right click and I'm going to go to duplicate. So we have table 1 and then what I'm going to do is maybe I'll just rename this to table 2. Okay, so this is table 1 and table 2. So what I'm going to do is in table 1 I want to do pivot column based on team 1. So I go to transform, I click pivot column and then a box will appear. I want to do the pivot column on merge data and I click on don't aggregate and then I press OK. So if you notice over here, we have already clicked pivot column and it has been segregated to separate columns. However, if you notice, we don't have the data correspondingly. So I'm going to need to do the same thing. So I go to table 2. So I'm going to choose team 2 and then I go to pivot column and then a box will appear. I choose merge and then I click advanced option. I click don't aggregate and then I press OK. So now it appears the same thing. So here we have this data. Here also we do have the data. So now what I'm going to do is I want to combine these two data by using merge query. So I go to home, I click merge query, I click on merge query as new. So I'm going to click merge query as new and then what I'm going to do is I want to choose here table 1 and I want to choose here table 2. I click on this data, I click on this column and I press OK. So now you'll notice it will merge the two tables into one. And what I need to do is I need to expand the column and then I have to untick the team 1 and untick the original column and press OK. So here you go. So now we do have this database. So what we need to do is next is I'm going to select this column, right click and unpivot other columns. So it has already unpivot and then what I want to do is I just want to sort first. I want to sort in ascending. So now it shows this is the data. But if you look here carefully, we do have dot 1. Okay, dot 1, dot 1. So what I want to do is whatever data that is dot 1 be treated as the original data. Meaning to say whatever that is dot 1 instead of just dot 1 it should be treated as normal AC Milan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to add column and conditional column. A box appear. So regardless what is the name. So what I want to do is this column, the column name is attribute. So if it has or contains the full stop 1, I'm going to put here full stop 1, it should be known as null. Okay, it should be known as the null. Otherwise, it should follow column attribute. And I'm going to press OK. So now this is how it looks. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press here right click and I want to go to fill down. So this is how it looks like. And I want to remove this column. So now this is our data. So what's going to next step is what I'll do is I will try to select this column and then I go to transform, I click pivot column and I want to do based on value and advanced option, go to don't aggregate and then I'm going to press OK. So now this is how the data looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to home, close and load to, okay, only create connection. I press OK. So it will load as a connection, and then what I'm going to do is I just want to load the merge one to somewhere here. So I'm going to press here, select this, right click, and then I want to press load to, and then table, and I'm going to press OK. So now here you go. So if you look here carefully, this is our database. But if you notice over here, there is no data. So how we want to put the X into the blank cell? Well, what I want to do is I'm going to press here right click, and then I go to edit. So if you notice carefully, we do have null. So instead of null, I want X. So what you can do is you select this column, last column, you go to replace value. So instead of null, you can actually put X. So the file you to find is null, replace with X, and then you press OK. So here you go, and close and load. So eventually you will have the X data over here.